Okay, so hello. This is BVLSI Design Lecture 25F. Today's topic will be realization of compact XOR gate using technique number 3. So let us directly jump into it. So this is the circuit diagram. Transistor level implementation of XOR gate to be precise. So we have MN1 and MN2 which are connected in series, and gate terminal. One of the gate terminal is connected to the gate terminal of MP1, and another gate terminal is connected to MP2. We have A and B connected like this, and we have the output taken from the MP2 terminal and MN2 terminal collectively together. So the output will give us A XOR B. Fine. Now let us see the functionality in a minute. First, let us confirm the truth table. So the truth table of XOR gate is A. Whenever A and B are same, then the output is 0. If the A and B are different, that is A is 0 and B is 1, and A is 1 and B is 0, this is logic 0 and logic 1 we are talking about. At that time, the output is at logic 1. And the total transistor count to implement this compact XOR circuit or transistor level implementation is 4. We will assume the VDD level as 5 volt for our analysis. So let us directly jump into the working of the circuit. Okay. So for case number 1, let me just expand it a little. Yeah. So for case number 1, we have A as 0 and B as 0. So whenever A is 0, so what do we have is we have the MN1 will be off, okay, and MP1 will be on, basically, correct, and your MN2, well, if B is 0, MN2 will be off and MP2 will be on. So basically we are saying that when A and B is 0 0, both MN1 and MN2 are off, okay, and in the circuit we only have MP1 and MP2. So what happens is, yeah, MP1 and MP2 act as PMOS pass transistors. So MP2 will pass 0. So it will not pass 0 as it is. It will pass a weak logic 0. So over here the Vout will be V minimum, which is mod of VTP. Similarly, there is another part we can see over here when V is 0. So since MP1 is on, the logic 0 will be transferred to the output as a weak logic 0. So in this case, MP1 and MP2 are on. Now let's go to the table. So whenever VA and VB are both 0, MP1 and MP2 are on, and we get at the output, um, okay, we have checked the case for A and B to be 0 0. Yeah. So we get at the output weak logic 0. That is V minimum, which is given by mod of VTP. Now let us check the next condition. And we notice that for a NMOS pass transistor, it passes logic 0 strongly, but it passes logic 1 as a weak logic 1. That is, output will be VDD minus VTN. Whereas for a PMOS pass transistor logic, if the gate is grounded and if we are trying to pass logic 1, it will pass it very strongly. And if we are trying to pass logic 0, output will be a weak logic 0, wherein it will be given by mod of VTP. So keeping these things in mind, let us go to case number 2. So in case number 2, we have A as logic 0 and B as logic 1. So in this case, A is logic 0. That means the gate of MN1 is 0. That means MN1 is off. At the same time, MP1 is on. MP1 is on because the gate voltage, I mean, the logic voltage at the gate is 0 volt. So MP1 is on. Similarly, if B is 1, B is logic 1, MP2 is off, but MN1 is on. MN2 is on. Even if MN2 is on, since MN1 and MN2 are connected in series, and since MN1 is off, yeah, this network is almost like a redundant. Okay. So in this case, only MP1 being on is the most relevant part. So what happens is we are trying to pass a logic 1 to MP1. So the gate terminal is connected to your logic 0, and we are passing over here we are passing over here logic 1 to the output. So this is the part, you can place it with this yellow color part. So here it is at the output terminal. We have strong logic 1 being transferred via this PMOS MP1 pass transistor. Okay. So in this case, output will be strong logic 1, which will be equal to VDD, which will be equal to 5 volt. Let us check the table. So in this case, MP1 and MN2 are on. So 0 and 1. So MP1 and MN2 are on. Yeah. And here we get a very strong logic 1, that is 5 volts at the output. Let us check the next scenario. So in case number 3, when A is 1, MN1 is on and B is 0, so MN2 will be off. So this part is redundant. And since A is 1, MP1 will be off, because at the gate we are applying logic 1, which will turn off your PMOS transistor MP1. Now, if we apply 0 to your B, MP2 will be on. That is, this MP2 will act as a PMOS pass transistor, which is passing logic 1. And we know that PMOS pass transistor passes logic 1 very strongly. So at the output, we have a strong logic 1, that is equal to VDD. So in this case, your MN1 and MP2 are on for 1 and 0. For 5 volt and 0 volt, MN1 and MP2 is on, and we pass at the output a very strong 1, logic 1. Now let us check the last case. So in the last case, both A and B are 1. That means both MN1 and MN2 transistors, NMOS transistors are on, and both MP1 and MP2 transistors are off. So it's very clear that the output will be pulled down towards your VDD level, and both these transistors being on and connected in series, since 0 has been applied over here. Okay, 0 has been applied over here, so we know that NMOS pass transistors passes 0 very, very, you know strongly. So since both the gate terminal is logic 1, both the transistors are on, and it passes logic 0 through the series network to the output. So output will be strong logic 0. So in this case, let us check that both are 5 and 5 volt. So MN1 and MN2 are on, whereas other transistors are off. And at the output, we have a very strong logic 0. So except for one condition, that is for 0, 0, where the output is a weak 0, all the other conditions are passing a strong 0 and a strong 1. Okay. Now we have completed the working. Now let us check this thing in LT-Spice also. So this compact XOR implementation. So this is the circuit implementation of the same. Let me keep it like this. Let me reduce the width of the PDF so that both the screens will fit together. Okay, I guess this is fine. Let me reduce the width also. Yeah, I think this is better now. Okay, now let us check. The circuit is already been built up in LT-Spice schematic. So let us check now. So here is my A. This is my PMOS transistor. Remember that for a PMOS transistor, the substrate terminal should be connected to VDD, and for NMOS transistor, the body terminal or the substrate terminal should be connected to the ground. So from the library, you either have to select NMOS 4 or PMOS 4 for this operation. Okay. Now this is MP1. This is MP1. This is MP2 over here. This is MN1 and MN2. Both are connected in series. So there is no problem with the circuit. And let me maximize it, and let me show you the pulse of your A. So we have 0 and 5. Delay time is 5 millisecond. Rise time and fall time is 10 picoseconds. On time is 5 milliseconds, and period is 10 milliseconds. Number of cycle is 10. Similarly for B, everything else is same. Delay time is 1.2 milliseconds. On time is also same. Period is 8 milliseconds instead of 10. That's the only difference. And VDD is of course 5 volts. Now we have made an attempt to keep this NMOS and PMOS parameters. Dot model parameters are given here. Let me correct it and make it as 100. Okay. So W and L values are given. VTO is around 1 volt and -1 volt, and your KP values are also given to us. Okay. and width of the PMOS is kept twice as compared to the width of the NMOS. Now let me go to simulate. Click on run. We have done dot tran transient analysis for 25 milliseconds. Let me click on run. A new screen has opened up. So I'll maximize it and divide it into three planes. Let me first divide it into three planes. This is two planes and then one more plane. And here I'll plot VA first. Next I'll plot VB, and finally the output V out. Okay. Now let us analyze this one by one. Let me just keep it like this and let us take it case by case. Let us go to the truth table. So VA and VB. So let us check the truth table. So in the first case, we have VA and VB as 0, 0. So whenever VA and VB as 0, 0, we pass, the design is passing a weak logic 0. So weak logic 0 will be like V minimum. So that V minimum value is your VTP, and that value is 1 volt. As you can see clearly in the dot model statement, we have given the threshold voltage as 1 volt for NMOS and minus 1 volt for PMOS. So over here, the V minimum value is mod of VTP, which is exactly equal to 1 volt, as you can see very clearly. So that's the sign it's passing as weak 0 whenever both VA and VB are 0 and 0. Let us go to the next case. Now it is 0 and 5 volt. So the next case is strong 1. We are getting a 5 volt at the output. So that is absolutely correct. Next is 5 and 5. It should give us strong 0. So we are getting 406 nanovolt. That is as good as 0 volt. Next case is 5 and 0 volt. So for 5 and 0 volt, we should get a strong 0. Yes, we are getting 5 volt at the output. And then again, when both VA and VB are 5 and 5 volt, at the output we get a strong 0. That is 50 nanovolt we are getting. That is as good as 0. Again, we come back to this. VA and VB are 0 and 1. And we again get a very strong 1. That is logic 1. And then we come back to this 0 and 0 again, and again we are back to this weak logic 1, which is around 1 volt we are getting. We are supposed to get a strong 0, but instead we are getting a weak 0, that is 1 volt at the output. Okay, and I think all the remaining cases will follow up fine, but only limitation of this circuit is that the output voltage swing is not full. We have a weak 0 case wherein it is not 0 volt, it is actually 1 volt in this case. It depends upon the threshold voltage of the PMOS transistor. Now in order to compensate for that, order to get back to the voltage level swings, we add an extra CMOS inverter and we connect at the output. So this output I've connected to the CMOS inverter, and the output of CMOS inverter I've called it as V out bar. But you will get a full swing output, but only thing is the functionality of the gate will change. Instead of a compact XOR gate, it will look like a compact XNOR gate. Let me show it to you. So I like add the plane plot over here. VA I will push it up, VB I will push it up, and V out I will push it up. And I'll plot over here V out bar, which is the output of the, okay, I think there is slightly some problem. Okay, so that glitch is resolved. Actually, I've given here KPS very low, that is 4 micro. It has to be 40 micro. So here we check the output of your V out bar, and here if you see carefully, it is exactly reverse of this V out. Basically, what we are trying to say over here is we get a full swing. So you see 0 is 0 volt and logic 1 is 5 volt, as you can see in all the cases. So we get a full swing. But at the same time, instead of getting XOR gate logic, we are getting XNOR logic. So the functionality of the circuit is changing. And additionally, we are requiring 2 more transistors. So that will give us the full swing back. But the functionality wise, it's changing. It's becoming XNOR gate after adding an inverter, but we get a full swing at the output. Okay, so I hope that this is clear, and let me go to the main PDF. I guess we have completed everything in this PDF, and the compact XOR gate implementation is complete with technique number 3. So that is all from this lecture. Next time we'll implement a compact XNOR gate with technique number 3. So until then, have a good day and thank you.